Welcome to the 5D Academy of Higher Consciousness. I'm Zarathustra, broadcasting live from Tulum, Mexico. And we've been debating to talk about being here. It's difficult here and now. Some of my participants, they questioned me and they brought this up regarding that it's difficult to be here, to be now, sometimes, or a lot of times. So, yeah, that seems like a wonderful, wonderful topic to talk about because naturally, where you were younger, you were here. When you were in your 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, even maybe some people maybe even to their 20s, and they're just here. And they're not really dwelling in a past or in a future. But what happens as we're getting older, let's say, what happens really is that the conditioning that the society and schooling, parents, overall conditioning that we have as we're growing up is that we need to think about our future. We have to worry about the future. We need to worry about our retirement. And we need to make sure we have enough investments that our future is set. Education, a lot of different areas. So what happens is we get hammered constantly in our heads that we need to think about future. So the mind begins to get conditioned. And you're a child, you're 6, 7, 8 years old. You don't really think about future. And you're here and you're playful and you just go with the flow. And you're following that energy. And then when this conditioning starts to happen and we get hammered constantly and bombarded by everything surrounding us, that the way we are is wrong because it's careless, and we need to worry and be concerned about our future. So slowly, the mind begins to get conditioned, and then the whole problem starts to happen. There's all kinds of different scenarios in it. And the mind is a horrible master. Horrible master. It will torture us in any way possible. And in the same time, it's a wonderful servant. And a lot of people think that they have to learn how to control their mind. Controlling becomes an issue, or training the mind in manifesting things or visualizing things. But the mind cannot be controlled. It can only be observed. Anyone's trying to control their mind is wasting their time. You can be disciplined throughout the years and strengthening yourself with certain things, but you can never control the mind. The more you try to control it, the more you're involved and engaged with it. And the more it's got power. So what do we do? And majority of people on the planet, from even kids from 12, 13 years old, these days, they become slaves of their mind. And the mind is running all the time, driving them crazy. And as you get older, it even gets worse, because now you have some history behind you. And throughout this time, you keep going back to your past. You're thinking about the mistakes you've made, or the memories, the people you've been with, whether it was good, bad, whether you had a trauma, all kinds of different stories. But there's many people that they're dwelling in the past continuously. And they bring it into the present moment of this past story of their lives. And you can see it with people like, I mean, there's different levels of people, but you can see it like they're always talking about things that they did, or things they didn't do, or the mistakes they made, or their accomplishments, or stories you had together. And they have to talk all the time. They can't just be quiet. They can't hang out in this moment. They can't be here. They continuously have to go somewhere else. Or they're talking about future plans, investments, where they like to move to, where they like to retire. And they're worried that the world is going to end. Many people are worried about it, that what's going to happen to the world 10 years from now or 20 years from now. So, and the mind is constantly here and there. As for my family, they love to worry. Like every time I'm talking to someone, they're worried about me, or they're worried about something, and they're worried that this is going to happen or that is going to happen. And it becomes a habit. It becomes a way of being. And we get addicted to it, that we need to worry all the time. And if we don't worry, then there is something's wrong. Many people are like that. They just can't be here. They cannot detach themselves from worry. And this worry, it has a lot to do with a false sense of control, that I'm in control of my life, I'm in control of events, and if I don't think about it and worry about it, then it will get out of hand. I'll lose it. That's, a lot of people think that way. And in reality is that we're not in control of anything. None of anything that is happening in our bodies, in our mind, or in our emotions, or in our surroundings, we cannot control any of it. Zero control of anything. But that's a big blow at the mind for it to understand and to accept it, because then the next thing comes, the questioning of the mind too, challenging the mind as well. So the nature of the mind basically is duality. That's how it works. It's in dual world. It cannot be here. If it's here, then there's no thoughts. It becomes a silent mind. Or you can use thoughts in order to figure out how to make a plane reservation, or whatever you're needing to plan, and you're using your working mind to do that, to plan things. But working mind is different than the monkey mind. Monkey mind is all over. So The working mind is about solutions and taking care of something which is here, whatever that is. Okay, something happened to my computer, I need to fix it, or something you know, a light bulb in the house has gone out and I need to replace it. So now you're using the working mind in here and now and taking care of it. It's very simple. Yes, you're using your mind. But the rest of the time is just a lot of waste of time, a lot of waste of thoughts. Because it's just it wastes a lot of energy for nothing, literally nothing. For example, let's use this, that if we go to future, we're talking about future, and you worry about something is going to happen, your mind goes to the future. So what is future? Anybody? What is future? When we talk about future moments, tomorrow, next week, next year, 10 years from now, we're talking about a possibility of an event or things or moments that may come, the possibility of them. But we don't know, we may be there or we may not be there. That's another thing. Because nobody knows if they're going to be alive 10 minutes or an hour from now or tomorrow. You have no idea what's going to happen to you tomorrow. If you're going to be around or not. If you, whatever, you may have an accident, anything can happen to you. So, but we want to go into the future, and then we go to the future and we're kind of like planning it or dwelling on it or thinking about it, right? But what we're doing is we're deriving the past, whatever is from the past, and the mind projecting it into what is called future. But there is no future. Such thing as future does not exist. It's a product of the mind. It's something the mind has created. And it's something that the world, society has agreed on. There is something called future. But there is no such a thing as future. It's non-existing. Because it's always here. You're always here in this moment. And you can't be anywhere else. This is the only reality you have. This is the only thing that exists. Yeah, we can project about parallel realities. We can project about and talk about the concepts and ideas that we're multidimensional and we're existing in different planes simultaneously or dimensions. But your experience, our experience, is always in here and now. You can examine it for yourself. You don't have to believe what I'm saying. You can just look into it for yourself. Can you ever be outside of now? Where can you go?
Can we say that the future is just a thought?
Yeah, it's a projection of the mind that uses the past to project on the future. It's using the past images or experiences, and it's projecting it into what it's called the future. So when you think about next week, or when you're thinking about me coming to Norway, to Hamar, to do, when you think about that, right? We're planning it, I'm coming, correct?
Yes.
So you're using your past information that is recorded in your mind, or the conversations we've had, and now you're projecting it into something we call future.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So, or when we worry, I mean, I'm worried about future. I'm worried about what's going to happen to my kids, what's going to happen to my family, what's going to happen to the planet. Okay, let's say a big thing like when there was the pandemic, where a lot of people were worried what's going to happen to them, right? Yeah, we we had that, didn't we? So there was a lot of fear in the air. There was a lot of worry. But worry about what? Because in the moment when you're here, okay, you either have COVID or you don't have COVID. But if you don't have COVID, right, and you're worried that you may get it, so you're using this information and you're projecting it on a possibility of a future moment that you may get the disease or virus and you may die. So, but in the meantime, you have no idea what's going to happen. And we've been like worried about the state of the planet and what's going to happen to this planet, and the wars, the climate changes, the energy crisis. But in so many ways, nothing really happens. I mean, in so many ways, for a lot of us, we just keep living our lives. Like, remember, like, when this war with the Ukraine and Russian war started it, and I was checking out some of the news on YouTube about energy crisis, and this winter is going to be horrible in Europe, and how would Europe get its energy? And you guys remember all those stories? Yes, no, right. So how did Europe got its energy? I mean, we're almost in spring. But what was portrayed was a lot more horrible and terrifying than this winter. I mean, was it a difficult winter as far as energy goes in Europe? Anyone? Anita, you lived in Europe, or anyone?
Yeah, it was more expensive.
It was more expensive, right? Yes. But you still had gas, you still had electricity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was just expensive. Yeah, but all those doom and gloom stories that they were telling us, none of those things really happened. No. Yeah. So, and what about when, it was about to turn to year 2000? What was it, Y2K? You guys remember? Yeah. And there was a major fear that most computers, they may fail because their programming was up to the year 2000. And so they were worried about a lot of different things, like nuclear bombs, rockets may just be fired on their own, or trains or airplanes, or all kinds of different things that based on a computer program, they may collapse or whatever. So a lot of people were, out of fear, went and stocked a lot of food, water, food, stuff like that. I don't know. Do you remember that? Anybody remembers that? Right? The Y2K, I think it was called. No? Yeah. And then what happened? The year turned, On December 1999, 31st, it turned to January 1st, and nothing happened.
Just wait.
Life went on as usual. But yes, of course, there's these wars and things happen here and there, things happening around the world. We're not denying that it's not happening. Uh, and for some people, life is hell. Of course, it would be stupid to say no, that's not it, or that's not what's happening. But generally, as a general speaking, a lot of the stuff that they're telling you it's going to happen is just, it generates a lot of fear and worry and anxiety. And but when you are in the next step and next step and next step, you realize, oh, your life is, you're still doing what you were doing. Interesting, isn't it? What about the Mayan calendar at 2012? That Mayan calendar would end. You remember that? There was a big thing about it's going to be the end of the world because the Mayan calendar ends on 2012. I don't know if anyone remembers or not.
Yes.
Yeah, especially in the spiritual community, because I mean the mainstream, they didn't care. They didn't even know who Mayans are. So, but then it came to 2012, and then 2012, nothing happened. 2012 turns to 2013, and nothing happened. So what I'm saying is a lot of this stuff is just projecting something from the past, the mind, and even the authorities, the people who are on the top, or the running the countries or corporations or big uh, uh, oil companies, or the big boys, the ones who are controlling, they're pretty much in control of the money of the world, or the flow of the money of the world, or they can manipulate the stock market, or they can manipulate governments, or they can get rid of a prime minister or a king, or divide a country in three, the big boys. So the military industrial complex, so who are they? They're made out of people who have minds, and their minds, of course, they're a slave of their minds, and their minds operating into the future. So they're planning for stuff to happen, or whatever they do, or to create these fake wars, stuff like that, like they did in Ukraine, and to jack up the oil prices, and out of that, then all these other things are going to be expensive. And then by creating this war, you can sell a lot of weaponry to the countries in the neighborhood, because now everybody's afraid of Russia taking over, or China, or whatever. So let's just arm up. Well, okay, and then you're arming up for what? And who you're buying these things? These airplanes, expensive jet fighters, or submarines, or Navy ships, or whatever. But who are you going to buy it from? It's not like you go to Safeway and get it. It's somebody's manufacturing it, and they have to create a situation that everybody get afraid. The general public gets afraid, so they give go ahead to the governments to militarize. So again, it's the manipulation of being able to manipulate the mind, to scare the shit out of the mind, And how you do that? You by creating fear, because and then we fall into that trap. The mind falls into this trap of projecting into the future. But it's bringing whatever products that is projecting into the future, it's nothing new. Try to think of future without using any past stuff. See if you can do that. It's impossible. You cannot think of future without the past, because it simply does not exist. So you can't think of something that doesn't exist because you don't have a reference point to it. So in other words, you cannot know the unknown. Something is unknowable, you cannot know it. Is it making any sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So does anyone have any questions or comments? So yeah, go ahead. So what we can do is, what happens in this work is we begin to awaken, and awaken to what? We begin to awaken to our master, to our masters. Something's weird happening with my computer. Yeah, we begin to awakening to our masters. And who's the master? The one who's controlling you is your mind. Your mind is the master. So you start to awakening to it. You start to realize, wait a minute, this thing has been driving me crazy and makes me do a lot of weird stuff, and it takes a lot of my energy. And because of this thing, I'm not able to live my life to fully. And not doing the things I want to do and things that my heart wants to do because of this thing. So you start to recognize it. You start recognizing that this thing is not your friend, as long as it's the master. But once you start to recognize it and to be able to observe it, you're able to observe your mind. And then you're separating yourself from your mind. It's a separation happens. Because you're starting to see the mind, which is never here, from outside. And you start to realize it's an object. The mind is an object. Because it's being seen. It's being noticed. It's being detected. So therefore, it must be some kind of object. Because someone is able of seeing it, of viewing it. Who is aware of their mind? And who is aware of their emotions, your feelings? Your feelings come and go. You get up in the morning and you feel depressed. By noon, you're happy, and by afternoon, you're sad. And you notice these things. And who's aware of it? And where does that awareness happen? It all happens in here. It all happens in now. Because it can't happen in any other time. It is the now, it's eternal now, eternal. For eternity, it's always now. And there's this illusion that the moments are connected to each other, because you think you're in a motion, you're moving, and because everything happens so fast, there's like a hairline in between two moments. Every moment happens. This moment happens right now, and it's over, and it never happens again. It's a one-time event. And then the next moment happens. For example, right now, can you go back to 30 seconds ago? Can you go back to 10 seconds ago? Can you 5 seconds ago? Can you go back? Can you catch it? Or just a moment ago, can you get it? It's already gone. So it happens and it's over. And then the next moment happens and it's over. And the next moment happens. But because it's happening so fast, so quickly, and they're really next to each other, it gives you the illusion that there's a continuum. It gives you the illusion that they're connected to each other. But actually, they're completely disconnected from one another. None of these moments are connected to the next moments. They only happen one time. Hi, welcome. Yeah, so they only happen one time. If you really start looking at it that way, you'll be amazed, because that's going to also help you to have a much broader understanding of what is happening and your existence and the way everything is functioning. And it changes the quality of your life, because you're realizing something very, very huge. Because all of our lives, we think that as if we are in a horizontal movement. So we're going from, past, present, future. So it feels that way. That there's a past, there's a present, and there's a future. And it's a continuum. But that's non-existing. It doesn't even exist. It's only an illusion. You feels like it, you think that way, but it's not. None of these moments of your life are connected to the other moments of your life. They only happen one time and they're gone. And I'll give you another example. So it's more maybe, it makes it easier to understand. When they make movies, right? We all have been in movies, right? Have you gone to the cinema in your life? Go to the movies? Yeah, movies. Why do they call it movies? Anyone? Movies? Yeah. Why do they call it movies?
They move.
What moves?
The pictures.
Yeah, the pictures move. What are these? They're real. It's a real.
Yeah.
Right now it's digital, it's different. But when you're looking old movies, or so there's a big cylinder that you have, and this is made out of the film material, the plastic type material of each movement. And it's big because there's millions, hundreds of thousands of inserts. So this, like cartoons. When they're making cartoons, they're drawing all these different characters and movements, and since they put them next to each other so fast, it creates the illusion that the person or the character of the cartoon is moving. And the same thing happening with when they're making movies. The reel is a compilation of a million different cuts of pictures. That's how it is. But so when they call it movies, is because back in the day the projector didn't have this engine, little motor to run it. And then have you seen Cinema Paradiso? You remember the part, like, the kid is rolling, you have to have a steady hand to roll the movies, and if he falls asleep or attention goes away, the movie stops. And there was a point, like, he kind of was goofing off, and his boss came and kind of slapped him in his head. Oh, get back. And he started rolling it. I don't know if you remember that or not, but it's interesting. So the when they say movies, they're talking about this reel with all these pictures on it, and it's moving, and it creates the illusion of movement. It gives you this sense like a person is walking and talking, and Tom Cruise is flying its F-14 and bombarding or whatever. It's all like cuts, pieces, that they're all been attached to each other. And nuts, when you move it, because it's so fast, it looks like someone is moving. Exactly the same thing is happening here. Every moment of life is absolutely an independent moment. It only happens once in the history of existence. It happens and it's gone. It happens and it's gone. And there's nowhere to be found. There's no record of it. And you can't go back. You can't catch it. So back to the topic that we're talking about today, is to be here, to be now. And Susie brought a very good thing. She said, yeah, it's very difficult to be here. To be now is A, you're always here, and B, it's always now. Because there isn't anything else except here and now. Nothing outside of here and now exists. It's just not there. And whatever you think outside of your perspective of what you're looking at right now, whatever you think exists is just a projection of your mind. Because you say, okay, I have a car parked downstairs. I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to go to town. I'm going to go to Safeway and do some shopping. Or I have family in Oregon, or I have my whatever. But in here and now, right now, none of those things exist. This is the only thing exist. Whatever you can see, you can touch, or you can be encountering to in this moment is the only reality you have right now. Anything else outside of this is your mind. It's memory in your mind. Like, I get in a car and go to another town. In your memory, in your mind, you have a car parked downstairs, and there is a town to go to. But all you can handle with every single moment of life is this. This is all you can handle. And yeah, when you go sit in the car and you're driving your car to get to wherever, then that is the only reality that exists. Driving the car is the only reality exists. Then your home doesn't exist anymore. That's gone. And then when you start driving back home again, everything else starts to appear in your vision. And you come back home, and then there's a home. So then that is your only reality in a moment. So yeah, that's an so okay, back now let's go talk about this topic of, so what do I do? Because I get caught in this chatter with my mind, and my mind is driving me crazy. And how do I deal with it? Because I keep thinking about the past or the future. And you simply look at it. You're simply observing your mind, and you're aware. And every once in a while you catch it. Obviously, you can't just sit there and all day long just watch your mind, because you got a life. And a lot of times in your life, you're not aware of it, that you're one with whatever you're doing. So a lot of times there is no mind. You're totally one with whatever is happening for you. Like when you're doing something you love, whatever that is, and let's say you really love pottery, or you like paintings, paint, or to sew, or cooking. It's something that you really do effortlessly, and there's no effort in it. And if you notice, like, you get lost into it, and you can do it for hours. 3 hours you've been painting, or been playing your music, or you've been riding your bicycle or something, and then in that moment you are completely one with it, with whatever you're doing, without thinking. You're Go ahead. Whatever you're doing is, let's say you're painting, and then you're listening to some music, and you're completely lost into what you're doing. So then there is no sense of you holding the brush in your hand, and you are painting on a screen, on the canvas. The division between you, the brush, the oil, and the canvas is gone. There's no sense of it. The doing it, but no one is doing it. It's just an event which is happening on its own accord, without any kind of effort. You can check it out for yourself. You do it in your life a lot. And that's pure meditation, because you're one with what you're doing. There's no mind there. And the mind is silent. So it's the key is recognizing that. Recognizing, and also the recognition of that the mind goes to all these different places, goes to the past and projecting into the future. But even what it's doing, so you say, oh, it's really hard to be here. Even then, it's happening in here, because there's nowhere else. There's no other time. All of it is always here. So in this work, when we talk about, or when my teacher's been talking about being silent, being quiet, and what I share with my people is simply coming back into this place. You come back to here. You come back. You bring your attention inwards, shifting the attention inside. You start looking inwardly. You can look at one point within yourself, or you can look at your stream of your thoughts, whatever thoughts are going through your mind, and you can just check them out, look at them, and follow them inwards. See, where do they come from, these thoughts? Where are they coming from? And you follow it. And as you're following it, then all of a sudden everything becomes quiet. You're going back to the source of the thoughts. And then there's no thoughts. But you're still here. So you're here. And there's no thoughts. It's only the presence. And then a thought comes or something happens, and it will take you somewhere. This is a matter of language we're talking about. It takes you somewhere. Oh, I have to buy my ticket to go to Las Vegas. Oh, I have to buy my ticket to do this, or I forgot to pay my bill, or I need to send an email. So a thought comes in here and now and distracts you about something something. And then that thought leads to another thought, da 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 da. But it's still happening in here and now. But the mind cannot play those tricks with you any longer because it's being seen, it's being observed. The awareness, self-awakening mechanism has kicked in. And you are starting to there's this sense of awareness of this mechanism, this thing called the mind. You have become aware of it. Now it's not in the dark anymore. So it's no longer your master. It's no longer making you suffer. You're seeing it. And as you're seeing it, you begin to discipline yourself by not identifying with it, by just remembering that it's just a bundle of thoughts. That's what it is. Flying through. And that's for everybody. You're not the only person. Everyone on the planet is suffering from the same disease, a busy mind. And it doesn't matter if they're wealthy or they're powerful, successful or not. The ordinary people, it doesn't matter. They're suffering from the same thing. A mind that takes them to all kinds of dark places. A mind that plays all these tricks on them. And it could be anything. I mean, you could be very successful, you're making a lot of money, and then the mind tells you that you're not making enough money, you're not successful enough. You have friends who make more than you do. And now you don't feel good. Or the mind comes and tells you that Hey, because you're famous and you're making money and you are important, then you may get kidnapped or your kids get kidnapped. People are after you. So now you're worried about that. Or the mind will come and tell you, oh, okay, whenever you're drinking a little bit of water, you go to a restaurant, you can't use the glass or their plates because it can be dirty. So now you're worried about, you have this phobia about just being super clean. It's the mind plays those tricks with you. And it can make your life hell. Again, it doesn't matter on your status. You're wealthy, you're successful, you're ordinarily, you're poor. It has nothing to do with objects. Oh, only if I had more money or if I was more successful, everything would be okay. No, it's not the objects that are going to make you okay. It is your mind. That's the problem. That's what makes you suffer, because it doesn't matter. You can have everything in life and you're still afraid. You're still worried. Or you're worried you're going to die. Or you're worried your partner is going to leave you. Whatever that is. This is the way the mind plays. It takes you outside of now. Or it plays this kind of games like, everybody's, I don't know, everybody's going to a holiday or all of your friends going to this big event and somehow you're not invited or you can't go. And the mind plays this, oh, they're all going to get enlightened or they're all going to find their love of lives, and I'm screwed. I'm left out. The mind will play that game. Or the mind will come and play a game with you that you're not good enough. Look at yourself. You're not good enough. You don't deserve to be successful. You don't deserve being happy because you're stupid or you're ugly or you're short or you're whatever it is. It's always plays a game. And you have to become aware of it and not pay attention to it. Yeah, it's a good time if it comes and reminds you like, hey, you didn't pay your parking ticket and tomorrow is the last day. And if you don't pay it, the parking ticket will double. Oh yeah, then the mind is serving you. So you go pay it. So it doesn't double. So then it's a good servant. But most of other time, it's a horrible master. And its job is to torture you. And you buy it. You believe it. Everybody does, because we never had the training. We never had the programming. And nobody taught us this kind of things. Naturally, we never thought about it until we started suffering from it. And then when we start suffering from it, some of us start to investigate. That's where the self-inquiry comes and self-awakening comes. We start to inquire about our existence. Could be a trauma, something happened, an accident, a loved one died. Something happened and it triggers you, and you start looking inside for an answer, because the answer is not outside. And then if we're lucky, we come across this kind of teachings that is not geared into strengthening your mind. It's not geared into making your mind more powerful. It's geared into recognizing the mind and recognizing that you are not it. You're not your mind. And you know, in your language, you even say it. You say my mind. As I say my phone, this is my phone. And this is my pen. And you say, this is my mind. My mind. My mind's driving me crazy. So you already know it's an object belongs to you. My mind. All right. Any questions? Any comments? Anybody?
I have a comment, Zarathustra.
Yeah, sure.
It's Julie. I just want to say this teaching presents a lot of excitement because not knowing anything could happen in the next moment, and that every moment is separate from other moments. It means that it's anything and everything, and yeah, it just teaches us to not get stuck on anything, and because in any given moment, everything will recreate itself again.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Julie.
Julie.
It is really beautiful.
Yeah, Julie, one moment. I'm going to mute all, and then you can unmute yourself. Okay? I want to continue. Okay. All right. Now you can unmute yourself. Okay.
Yes.
There was somebody else was unmuted, and yeah.
That might be that's probably my baby in the background.
Oh, okay. No problem. It's okay. Yeah, exactly. And
I just want to add to, in the beginning, when I first start listening to you, the thought of not having free will and the thought of not being able to create, or whatever semantics you use, that gave me a lot of that was really hard for me to sit with, that I am not the person in charge. And but now it's really, I'm getting it. I'm getting the sense that because I'm not the person in charge, and whatever's in charge is unlimited, it's infinite, that it's better. It's even better, because when I'm in charge, it's very limited. But if the infinity is in charge, wow, it's anything and everything.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. The mind freaks out when we say there is no free will and you're not in charge of anything in your life, and this sense, this mind, this thought, which is a thought, the mind is just a thought, or you may call it ego, and it comes and says, what do you mean I'm not in charge? When I say you're not in charge, you don't have any free will, and you hear it for the first time, what part of you revolts? Your hands don't, your legs don't, your neck doesn't do anything, your mouth doesn't do anything. The part that is insulted and doesn't like it is your mind. There's a thought comes and says, what do you mean I'm not in charge of my life? What do you mean? I'm not in control. It's the thought is the mind that comes and says this thing. And that's exactly true, because it's not in control, and it's not in charge. It's never been in charge. It just likes to believe that it's in charge. It's an illusion. It's a hypnosis that I am in charge. I'm the one who's choosing where to go and what to eat and who to be with. But there's zero control of anything. Anything. Zero. And yeah, it's very frightening to the existence of the mind. But when you start seeing it as it's happening for you, I'm very happy about that, Julie, and you start seeing it, the awareness comes, and you're settling down in it, you're relaxing into it, because at first there's a revolt, like there's struggle with it. But then as you're kind of starting to realize it, seeing it, and you're relaxing in it, so, rather than being in front and driving this vehicle and really being intense, and you're just kind of kicking back, and you got a couple of fingers on the steering wheel, or none, and then all of a sudden space opens up, and it's sort of impossible to explain it to somebody who's really very analytical. They're very intellectual, and they use their mind, and they want to understand things with their mind. It's almost impossible to explain this to them. But as you're just kind of adopting, there's an adaptation of this way of being. Space opens up, and as all of a sudden it's a phenomenon that you can't touch. It is not tangible, you can't see it, but the space opens, and all of a sudden all of a sudden things are being created. You don't need to think about creating them or manifesting them. All of a sudden your needs, the things you need, they just start appearing on your way. And life, there's still action, there's movement, there's still all kinds of things happening in life, but there's a deep sense of ease and surrender to it, because you start to realize that which has created the universe, that which makes the planet Earth turns around itself, and it's in harmony with all these other planets, and they don't run into each other. Some intelligence, there's something is managing this. We can call it God, the source, existence, but something's managing. There's a management, some sort of intelligence that makes the day tonight. Has ever day missed? Like there's been 3 days in a row and there's no nights. Has it ever, like, seasons one after the other are coming? Now we're in spring, and then it's summer. And as we go to spring, the trees, vegetations, well, in tropics it's always green, but other places, as the leaves start to come up. And then as it goes to fall, they start to die, they fall. something's running this thing. And then all the functions, think about your body, the functions that your body do. Millions of different functions, are maybe billions of different functions happening in your body, just one body, continuously, non-stop. This machine is non-stop working. I don't think is there a machine on this planet that can work non-stop, continuously, for 60, 70, 80 years? Is there a machine? And that you don't replace its parts? Can you think of it? 70 years, this machine, 80 years, this machine, 24 hours a day, it's operating without changing its parts. Can you imagine that for 1 second? And then, you eat food or whatever, all these chemical reactions that are happening, all these, it's chemistry. It's like this is a drugstore. You're living in it. It's full of different drugs. How is this operating? And then in a pseudo-spirituality, we're so ignorant and coming and say, oh yeah, I created it. It's my manifestation. You don't even know how it works. We collectively still don't know how it really works. We just have ideas of some parts of it. There's so much of it we don't know anything about. And maybe we never find out because it's so complex. So understanding of this, of realizing like, I'm not in control of any of these things. It just brings tremendous amount of peace. And yeah, you have to go to this struggle part of it, that letting go of your free will and scaring you and everything, because the mind is going through that. That's true. But once you pass that phase, with a little bit of training, being able to observe this mind, detecting it, or being able to observe these emotions, that they come and go, and up to now you thought this is who you are, you're your emotions. And as you're separating yourself from your thoughts, and you're starting to see your thoughts, you're not controlling them, you're not manipulating them, you're not doing anything, you simply are aware. And then, yeah, you become aware of your emotions, that they come and go. They're just visiting you. Visitors. Today you have visitors. And sometimes it's a pleasant visitor, sometimes it's unpleasant. Depression is unpleasant, and you're really excited, and a pleasant visitor comes and visits you. But it's not you. You're simply aware of it. And your mind is very busy. You're simply aware of it. Because you're neither busy or free. You're simply here. Your seat in your life is to be here. You are here aware, because you can't be anywhere else, because you can't do anything else. It's impossible not to be aware. Can you not be aware if you get gassy or you get diarrhea? Can you not be aware you got diarrhea and you got to run to the toilet every 5 minutes? Can you not be aware of it? Hello? If your baby is screaming really loud next door, can you not be aware of it? If a fire truck is driving by your apartment and you're hearing the sirens really loud, can you not be aware of it? No, it's impossible not to be aware. And it's impossible because none of them are happening outside of here. So you're here and you're doing what you're supposed to do, your only job, one job you have in this life. Everybody only has one main function in this life. Everybody, every single human being on the planet, from any race, any color, any religion, any nationality, everybody has one function, is to be aware. Because it's impossible not to be aware. Such thing is impossible unless you're in coma. Okay, yeah, you're in coma and you're all shut down and you're gone. But other than that, even when you're sleeping and you're dreaming, there's awareness. There's the awareness of images happening through your mind that you call dreams. Unless you're in the fourth stage of the sleep, that there is zero awareness. You're completely gone. And gone where? You can't go anywhere because this is the only place it is. Because you have been here and you will be here forever. There's nowhere to go. Here is the only place to be. You can't go anywhere else because there is no other place. So there's this awareness which is here. Now, this self-awareness starts to happen, that you begin to inquire, you begin to look inside. You're watching yourself. So some people start doing it with therapy. So they're doing therapy. They're going to see, and they're doing like past life regressions, or they'll go see the therapy talking about the traumas that happened to them. They're working, they're starting looking at themselves, which is all of it but mind again. Past traumas, they're mind. You're going into the memory and you're trying to fix something in the memory. But at least you have started some kind of work. So you're starting to look inside. And then, then you read a book here and book there, and you go to see this guy and that lady, speaker, and you're kind of getting lured in slowly, into the world of inner world. And then, if you're lucky, you come to some kind of teachings that is teaching you how to look at your mind. So you become aware of your mind, because most people on the planet, they have zero awareness of their mind, because they think they're their mind. They believe that they're their thinking function. So they never inquire anything about it. But us who are being pulled on this path and go deeper, it depends, how lucky we are. It depends how existence wants us to be. We come across this self-inquiry, self-observation. We begin to look that, wait a minute, this mind that is always working and thinking, up to now, I thought this is who I am. I thought that was my identity. But now I realize that I am not this thinking machine. It's just a mechanism that thinks. And I'm not it. And then I said, okay, maybe I can control it. Let me work on that, Let me go to these different classes and workshops and techniques so I can control it. But that's disastrous. It's called mind fucking. And you spend hours and hours and years after years and tons of money trying to control it. In fact, you're just giving it more power. It's getting stronger. And it tortures you more. Yet you may have an illusion that you're starting to controlling something. Oh, wow, I thought about an ice cream. And 2 minutes after that, my friend called and said, hey, I'm coming over with ice cream. Wow, I am starting to manifest. Or, I was thinking about the love of my life and he showed up or she showed up. So I'm manifesting things. Wow, look at me. But what about that other 5,000 times that you were trying to create something and it didn't happen? They don't count? All these other times that you're trying to manifest something, it doesn't happen. They don't count. The few times that you think of something and happens, those are you manifested them. It's a joke, isn't it? It's a fucking joke. And then, okay, so you're asking these people like, oh yeah, I manifested this life and I have manifested my parents and in some level I decided on my parents, I decided on this life, I decided on this body. Well, what are you going to tell these people? Well, then you did a shitty job. Because you manifested a fucked up world. This is a fucked up world. Why would you want to come to this world? If you're so good in manifesting, why would you come here? Why don't you go to a perfect world that is in harmony and people don't rape kids and they don't do child trafficking and they don't put 12-year-old girls into prostitution. Other kids are not being born disabled. Everybody's got food. Everybody's living in harmony and loving. You manifest really shitty. You need to work on that. But what you said, Julie, earlier is, the realization, the recognition of that. You're starting to recognize it, and you're starting to, or it gives you an opportunity to recognize itself, whatever. That I can't even, take any credit for. So you start to noticing it. some intelligence way beyond my understanding is running the show. Okay, is that really hard for my ego to accept it, that there's something bigger than me? Because I think I'm the creator. I created something bigger than me, something more intelligent than my mind, that I am a part of it. Not that I'm not part of it, I'm a part of that. And this intelligence, since it has demonstrated all these stuff, planets turning around themselves, day turns to night, night turns to day, spring to summer, summer to fall, my body functions, this intelligence knows a lot more than I do, or at least my functioning mind. And how about if I just kick back and let this intelligence just do its job, because obviously it knows what it's doing. It's got a good track record. It's qualified. And apparently it has brought billions and trillions of human beings in this life and has carried them out. Different forms, different shapes, different life stories. Some, they ended bad, some were traumatic, some were amazing. But we can't challenge or question its existence because some of its expressions are wrong or we don't like why there's war, or why people have to die in a tsunami, or why two people fall in love and then all of a sudden one gets cancer and dies. Yeah, there are things like we don't understand, we don't get it, or why there has to be child trafficking, or why there has to be rape. And this, they're all part of this intelligence. It created all of it. So we come and question it. But in the same time, it has created a lot of beauty, created a lot of amazing people, amazing, intelligent people who are geniuses. Like Einstein or Tesla or Mother Teresa, or I don't know, Buddha, or you, or me, us, has created both sides. It has created the dark and it's created the light. But can you imagine that there was a world that there was no darkness in it? Then light would become very boring after a while. You would be bored to death because it's all light. Because there's nothing else. There's no variety. So goodness will lose its meaning. It becomes meaningless. Because that's all you know. That's all it's been. So you don't have anything to compare it against. Because there has to be the opposite. If you're in this body and you're going to experience life, taste food, run, look at beautiful sceneries, smell some shitty garbage, if you're to experience these things, then they all have to be there. So you can compare one against the other. So when you smell something wonderful, like this baguette that comes out of the bakery, and just the smell is just, the aroma of it is driving you crazy, is you have to be able to compare it to when you're driving by a garbage truck and it stinks. Because you have to have something to compare it against. Otherwise, it's meaningless. And for the, yeah. I like to continue. Can we take a 5-minute break and we continue? And those of you who like to stay here, you can just go in meditation. I need to use the restroom, and I'm going to come back because we're in a nice flow. So is that okay? Yeah? Okay. I'll be right back. Hi, Elena. Have we met before? No. You can unmute yourself. If you want it. I don't know if you've figured it out. It's somewhere down at the bottom of your screen. I think there's a place you can unmute yourself. So, all right. So, Any questions or comments?
We are using so much energy to try to control everything, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
And it's quite funny to see when we just let go of the control then, right? And I think that I can figure out something, but the answer is 10 times better, you know?
Yeah, it's a lot easier where, okay, so this sense of control is actually an it's the ego, it's the mind that it has this false illusory imagination that it can control things.
Yes.
You know, it's just a sense, a false sense, but it cannot control anything. Zero.
And it is, yeah, and it is quite a blessing that we can't control everything.
Yeah, because you allow the boss, that the intelligence that is running everything, that one is operating through you. And that's, you get a lot more results from that.
Yeah, amazing results too, you know?
You get amazing results. And the number one thing you get is you immediately get the bonus of inner peace, that you're not in anxiety anymore. You're just, you you're in this peaceful state all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying things don't happen in life. You know, events happen in life, um, traumas happen, accidents happen, bad, you know, and you react to it. But deep inside, there is this deep inner peace, as well as this sense that all is well. Everything always will work out one way or the other. So you start operating from that place. And that just opens up a lot of space because you're not really forcing it all the time.
And I have discovered that when I let go of more and more of my control, you know, my illnesses, they're just disappearing because I don't feel stiffer anymore, you know, because I feel loose and happy. I'm not worried or try to control everything.
Right. Yeah. Life becomes, the quality of your life changes. The illness may still happen and all these things, but you're relaxed about it. The only one, the body may suffer, but the mind doesn't suffer anymore.
No.
Yeah. Anita,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
go. Anita, you wanted to say something?
Yes. If we can't control and if the superior is controlling and doing everything, what is my part? I mean, for what I'm getting up early morning to go to the work and to do my life and to, what is my intention or what is my part if I'm not responsible, if I'm not controlling the things in my life?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Your part is doing everything you're doing. That's your function.
But I don't, if I be honest, most of the things I don't want to do.
Right.
You know, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just doing it because I have to do it.
Yeah. Well, try. Well, some of them try not to do and see if you can. Like, for example, you say you do a lot of stuff you don't want to do. Like, for example, getting up in the morning, going to work. For example, okay. Is that fair? Right. Right. Okay. So try not to do it. See if you can. There's something greater than you, more powerful, will get you to get up and go to work. You think you are the one who's doing it. All the things that you're doing, you don't really like to do, but you have to do. Okay? Right. So let's look at it like you have a cup. Let's say it's half full and half empty. Right now, I can focus on the part that is half empty, or I can focus on the part that is half full. Okay? That's an example. Now, I'm going to get to what you're saying. We all do things we don't want to do. Even with my work, there's aspects of the work I don't like to do. I hate it. And I can see my mind comes and starts nagging about it. Like, I got to write this material about this workshop, or I don't really want to do it, and I wish I had somebody doing it for me, and or I have to sit with Amir and go through our website, and, the things I don't like to do, for example. But I have to do it. Now, there's two ways I can look at it. I can look at it, or I can allow my mind to rule it. I can look at it as this way, that I hate doing it. I wish I didn't have to do it. I wish I can put my energy in that sixth drive. Or I can also, in the meantime, look at it that, wow, I'm doing this shit work. I call it shit work, right? The stuff I don't like to do. I call it shit work. And then I say, wow, there are so many amazing moments with what I do that I love, especially when I'm teaching, especially when I'm in front of a group and I come to different countries, or I have a retreat and I have an audience in front of me. Those are some of the best moments. And here at the Academy, those are some of the best moments. The parts that I love is when I'm really doing the work, I'm teaching. But that's only like 10%, 15% of what I do. The rest of it is preparation to get to this point. And a lot of the preparation, I don't like to do it, but I have to do it. So I look at it this way. I look at it like, wow, there are millions and millions of people on the planet that they hate their job. And they're stuck in doing something they hate to do for any reasons. Let's say this guy is married, he's got 3 kids, his wife is a bit disabled, and now he has to go work in 7-Eleven or ride a taxi, drive a taxi, or whatever, and he hates it, but he has to do it because he has to take care of his family. But he's stuck into that. They can't get out of it. And so I look at it and I say, okay, I love what I do. Do I like all parts of it? No. So there's a little price I pay for what I love. And also, so I look at it that way. Also, I say to myself that because I'm able to do what I do, this gives me also an opportunity. Yes, I have to do the shit work, as I said, the stuff I don't like. But then I look at it, wow, it gives me an opportunity. I'm going to go to Norway, and I'm going to go to Poland, and I'm going to go to this village in the middle of Poland in almost beginning of summer. And for a week, I'm staying there. And then and I'm getting paid for it to be in countryside of Poland and do what I love to do. And then I'm going to go to Frankfurt and see my Frankfurt friends and family. Wow, I get to go to Europe. So I start looking at all the things I love. So I can look at the parts I hate, or I can look at the parts I love. So you have to work. You have to get up and go to work and everything. So if I was in that situation, what would I do? I'm going to look at the things that I'm able to do because I work. I have the freedom to go to any restaurant I like to go to. I can buy food. I can take someone out to dinner and not worry about spending money on it because I'm working. Then I have also a lot of other freedom. So I'm going to focus on the freedom and the things I can do rather than focusing on the stuff I hate.
Yeah, but then I use my mind again. This is also kind of control. This is something less than what you told before, that something greater got the control.
Yeah.
Of course, I can explain myself. I go to work because I earn money and I can live in a nice flat and I can go to your seminars and whatever, you know. Of course, and that's always a good sign, but the control, I'm controlling, and that means I have the discipline or the bad conscience. I will get up early morning and I go to the work.
Yeah.
This is a kind of control.
Right. That part, when your mind comes that, oh shit, I gotta get up and go to this work, when that part comes. Okay, let me give you an example of my own example, Derek. Okay, so I come to Scandinavia, to Europe twice a year, and up to now the pattern was Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Germany, Poland. And especially when I go to Norway, Sweden, since they're higher as far as geographically closer to the North Pole, right? So let's say, and this happened to me many times, and my retreat and the time happens to be in November, and it leaks into December. So I'm still working till, let's say, December 10th. And I'm in Norway or Sweden, something like that. And then what happens is right around beginning of November, beginning of end of November, like, you know, November 25th, 6th, what happens is the day starts at 9 o'clock. There's no light till 9:30. And then it ends around 2:30. Around 2:30, it starts getting dark. So I wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm in Sweden, in Stockholm. It's cold, it's windy, it's like either raining or there's like a snow or some storm. And I wake up, and this is what happens. I'm telling you very honestly. Oh, I hate this. I'm so depressed. Another ugly day here. And I have this is my thought pattern. Why don't I have $50 million so I don't have to come here and I don't have to do this work? Another day of waking up in bed alone without having a lover. I'm so lonely. This is the thoughts come into my mind, okay? I'm thinking that. And I'm feeling depressed. Depression comes immediately with it. Or, I'm so depressed. So then what do? So this is the thoughts I'm hearing in my mind, and this is how I feel. I'm feeling depressed, and I don't want to walk out in the cold. So I tell so what happens is I look at it, I say, oh wow, this is the weather report. I look at it. This is BBC News is giving me the news in the morning. I'm depressed. I hate my life. I'm lonely. I'm single. Why am I here? Why do I have to work? Blah, blah, blah. All these things is happening in my head. And I look at it and I say, okay, BBC News. Or sometimes I just tell myself, depression is here. Depression is visiting me with all these thoughts. Okay? So then I get up and go shower and shave. And normally, my routine is I like to get out of my apartment in the morning. I don't like to stay there. Even though if I'm having like maybe private sessions, people coming over, or I have to do some computer work, if I don't have a workshop, if I have a workshop, I go to the workshop. But if not, because there's also a lot of dull moments when you're touring. It's not always like up and happy, and there's a lot of alone times, a lot of dull moments you have. So I like to get out of the apartment, and I like to go to one of my favorite coffee shops. And then when I come back to the apartment, it's like I'm going to work. I'm going to my office. It gives me that feeling. I'm coming back to work. So I get up and I'm walking on the streets of Stockholm, and it's 9 o'clock. It's still dark, and all these snowflakes are falling down, and it's white, beautiful white. And I'm walking and I say, oh my God, it's so beautiful here. And wow, I'm so lucky. I got a chance in this life to come to these places, and I'm getting paid for it. So, but I get to travel and experience these places that I probably wouldn't go. And then by the time I get to my coffee shop and I'm sitting there and drinking my cappuccino, sometimes, I mean, the depression, all the stuff is gone, and gratitude comes. Now I feel grateful. And sometimes I cry because it's like, oh my God, I'm so lucky to be able to experience this. So the reason I'm telling you this story is that, yes, you get up in the morning and you have a routine, and you have to go to a job that whether you like it or you don't like it, but sometimes you don't want to do it, but you do it. But you also can use that opportunity when the mind comes and is telling you, I hate it, I'm doing things I hate. You can use that as an opportunity to be aware of the thoughts. This hating doing what you're doing is actually serving you. It's giving you a chance. It gives you a chance to be aware. Aware of what? Instead of buying the thoughts, picking it up, and going down in depression or sadness or self-pity, instead of that, you can use these thoughts as an opportunity for awakening. And that is, you look at the negative thoughts and you just say, oh, negative thoughts are here. I see you. It gives you a chance to observe your thoughts.
And they will come and go.
And they come and go. And stay still, stay neutral, stay in your center. So, and you will be, it's interesting, the more you can do this, the more you get into a habit of observing them, but not getting identified with them. Okay? An observation of these thoughts, the more the quality of your life changes. You may still go to the same job and take the same subway and do the stuff you don't like. You may be doing exactly the same thing you were doing, but now they're not bothering you. So this teachings and this awareness is not going to give you the power to manifest or control things or increase your income or being able magically to manifest the man of your life or whatever, but it gives you peace. Nothing in the outer world may change. You're maybe doing exactly the same thing, but then there's no one nagging about it. So it's the nagging that makes it difficult and creates hell. If there is no thoughts about it, it doesn't matter what you do. You're just simply doing it. But there's no one there judging it. So get rid of the one who's judging, not trying to fix the job.
Yes, thank you very much. We had this topic, and I forget always about it.
Right.
You remind me again. We had this already.
Yes.
And I identify always with my bad thoughts, and I get very depressed, and I feel very bad sometimes because it's just out of I don't know. It's not belonging to me. Now when I hear this again. This teaching, I know, okay, we spoke 2 years ago about this already,
right.
And
yeah.
regularly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So that's why we have this academy, and that's why we go to our teachers. So every time we forget or we feel like we're straying away from deviating from the path, so we go back to the masters, and they just set us up. And this is not even with you. I do it too. Every once in a while, I go back and listen to Papaji. Every once in a while, I go check out Ramana Maharshi. I check out Nisargadatta. I check out Eckhart Tolle. I check out Moji. I check out other teachers who are teaching the similar teachings. Every once in a while, I go and listen to them. Especially with my teacher, Papaji. I go back and I sit with the master. And then if there's a little bit like I'm going this way or that way, or there's some doubts, or there's something, it puts me right back. Oh, okay, I got it. Thank you. And that's the beauty of having access to the Library of Alexandria. Means your laptop, Google, YouTube, you can go back to and watch all these teachers and be reminded again. Or all these videos that I'm making, there's like, I don't know, 1,800 of them. I think 600 of them is about healing, and 1,200 videos, 1,300 videos is about this type of topic of teaching. So that's why we go back to our teachers when we're in trouble. I have a message here. I'm going to read it. We haven't met yet. Last Wednesday, I participate to your Zoom. I'm coming to Frankfurt. Oh, great. I spoke alone often, but today with iPhone, that's why the technical difficulties. It's so great what you teach and work. I am from Finland. Great. Well, nice meeting you. Yeah. Oh, you're coming to Frankfurt. I'm excited to meet you. Yeah. Well, I didn't think I'm going to talk this far because, as I said, I wasn't feeling good today. Um, I also received some disturbing news last night from my family, so I couldn't sleep all night. So, and today when I woke up, I wasn't feeling good, and so there was a moment I thought maybe I cancel the academy because I didn't even think I can talk today. And then I was like, okay, let's hang in there a little bit. Susie had sent me a message that she has a friend coming, and it was like, I can't disappoint Susie and her friend, so I'm just gonna push it and push myself through and see what happens. So it's interesting because when I sat here, I think some of you felt it. You asked me, how are you doing? And I didn't tell you the truth. I said, I'm fine.
Yes.
You felt it, and yes, I lied because I was feeling like shit.
I realized it.
Yeah, I think a few of you realize something's wrong with me, or I'm not. Yeah, so I was.
Your voice, your voice was so different. It's
Yeah,
your voice.
yeah. I think part of it was I cried a lot last night, and I drank, and I smoked a bunch of cigarettes, and I cried more and drank more and didn't sleep, and yeah, and it wasn't feeling good at all. So I was like, I don't know if I can teach in this state and be positive. But it's amazing, like a lot of stuff after I sit and and I start talking, or something comes, the real master comes and takes over. So, which I'm very happy it happened, and I didn't realize I'm going to go over. I'm 5 minutes over right now. All right, Julie, I have a question. Go ahead.
This question is really bothering me, so I really want to ask it.
Okay.
And you don't have to answer, you're over time. Is the observer a part of the infinite intelligence?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Everything, yeah, no, don't ever hesitate. You can always ask me questions. I appreciate your concern, and no question is a stupid question or anything. So I'm happy I'm here. Go ahead.
So the observer is also a part of creating, yes?
Yes, same as the mind. The mind that tortures you is created by the same one who's observing it. Yeah, they're all.
Well, I'm not the creator because all of these aspects are of the infinite intelligence.
Excuse me, say that again.
I am not the creator because all of these aspects are part of the infinite intelligence. But I'm not.
Okay, yeah, you're not as an individual entity who feels is separated, who feels that it has its own separate autonomy and it's a person who can do this and that. That one is not the creator because because it's illusory. That one doesn't even exist.
I totally get it. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. But the other one, Julie, without the ego, is the creator. She is the one who created the entire existence.
Not even Julie, no name.
No, well, yeah, no name. You can call it I am. You can call it I am. You can call it that. You know, but because it's like look at it this way. Like, yeah, I'm sitting here. I have a speaker here. I have a big TV screen. By the way, I don't know. Oh, good thing. I wasn't even thinking about why am I not broadcasting off of this TV screen. It never popped in my mind. It's amazing. And there's a air conditioning on top of my head. I have my computer here. I got the phone, and all of them are powered by electricity. So it's the same electricity that is powering these different units. And each unit has its own function. There's a refrigerator, there's a toaster, there's a juicer, there's a all these things. But their essence is the same, that they're all being powered by one source. But the looks is different and their function is different. And electricity could be dangerous. You can be electrified by it and die. Or you can use a computer and learn and educate. So the same thing with us in this life. There's only one source, one living spirit. And that one is functioning through all these different units. People, the meat, this meat, you know, that. But it's the same one. That same one, because it's infinite, has the ability to appear as many. The one who appears as many. Yeah, Brett, with those, I don't know what you have, Brett, back there. They're Buddhas, or I don't quite see exactly what they are, or they're dolls or characters. Yeah. So I'm not sure, I can't see it very well, but yes. And this guy here behind me. So the one that appears as many. It's the same thing. The electricity that powers all these different units, these machines. And if there's no electricity, none of them are good. I mean, you can have the best computer in the world, but if you can't power it up, it's worthless. A refrigerator is worthless if it's not being powered. A nice brand new Tesla car is worthless if you cannot power it. So as you're awakening, as your consciousness is expanding and you're coming to this other level, that means from this narrow way of looking, somehow to the grace of Her Majesty, the grace of the Maker, the Source. Because she has to will it for us to awaken. If she doesn't will it, you're staying like this. And you come and live this life, and then you die, and you come and live another life, and you die. And you come and go. But when she wills it, and I don't know why, and I don't know how she chooses people, but she decides at one point it's time for the unit to discover its true nature, to discover the truth of who he is. So she will lift the veil. Means you start to realize you're the one you're looking for because you are God. And you've never been anything else. That's who you are. And that's why Jesus got crucified. He came and said, I'm God. And they crucified him. Many, many masters in the history of spirituality, they've been mutilated, killed, tortured because they came and claimed that they are God. But not God as an individual ego, God as one who has lost the ego, one who's no longer identifying with an individual. I don't, what? Haps to be positive. It's great anyway. Thank you. Good wishes to your family. I don't understand. You don't plan to be positive? I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this message. This summer it is so great in Scandinavia. Of course, I've never been in Finland. So many times I've been in Stockholm or I've been in Oslo or different parts, and you said you didn't feel well. Okay, I'm not sure what you're saying. Can you elaborate on that? Or you can unmute yourself if you like, and you can talk to me.
Hi, Dinesandra. It's only that. Do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Yes, that's why now it functions, because it's my new iPhone. I didn't find the place. I just wanted to say that you, as you said, that you were not sure if you could teach today. That's why I made you don't have to be so great. You are teaching so well anyway.
Thank you. Yeah, things shifted. I don't know if it was the coffee or something kicked in and or something took over and I started to feel good, and then I came back to myself. But thank you.
That's so great. And many wishes to your family.
I appreciate it. I'm leaving in the next few days. I'm going back to Los Angeles so I can be with my family, and we'll see what happens. Yeah. So I thought last night maybe I cancel my European tour. Yeah. So, but I need to go to Los Angeles and see what's going on, if I have to be there or not. I mean, I don't wish to cancel my tour. It's because there's a lot of people involved, and we've done a lot of plannings. But your family comes first. And,
yes, of course.
Yeah, and you have to do what you have to do.
Yes.
So yeah. All right, so like to, I was gonna say a couple of things, but I forgot. So I guess I guess it wasn't meant for me to say them. We can, yeah, it was a couple of juicy stuff I was gonna say, but I can't remember them now. Okay, just an announcement. I am supposed to be coming to Europe. And I always say, you know, if we've been together, and I always say that anything can happen at any moment. And I always say, Inshallah. I don't know if you heard of Inshallah. Inshallah actually is an Arabic word that penetrated the Persian language, because my tongue language is Farsi. Right. And but after the occupation of Arabs, 300-400 years, Arabic language also penetrated in Persian language. So we use a lot of Arabic words. Yeah. So, but inshallah means God willing. And there is no guarantee in anything's going to happen. And I always say that people ask me, what are you going to do this summer? Or are you coming back next season? I always say, inshallah, God willing, we'll see if I'm still alive. If this world is still there and everything works, yes, I'm coming. So my intention is, of course, to come to Europe. I'm supposed to be flying to Norway on 15th of April. So
quickly.
Yeah, starting from Norway and then Poland and then Frankfurt. So we're having a series of 3 events in Hamar, Norway. You can contact me, or you can contact Ms. Hilde, who's organizing it. We're having 3 events in Norway. After Norway, I go to Poland, and I have a retreat in Poland. So this is going to be a 1 week 5D, fifth dimensional quantum healing retreat. And this year it's 7 days, I think 7 nights, 8 days, I believe. I'm not quite sure. I need to look at it. But this is going to be, we have made some changes. So this healing training program, even though I'm going to teach the essence and the techniques of healing work and shamanism, and how to do distant healing, and how to do sound healing and shamanic healing, but we mixed it with heart chakra awakening, self-love, and self-acceptance. The reason we made changes to it is any amazing healer on this planet, they all work from their heart. They all work from this space, not here. So, so this is going to be a retreat, and we're all staying in the same place together. You can contact us for more information. And then after Poland, I go to Frankfurt. There's one addition to my schedule is we are going to have a retreat in Toronto, Canada this summer. We're not sure if it's a 5-day retreat or 7-day retreat, but we're going to have a summer retreat in Canada. And Shadi and a few other friends, they're helping organizing it right now. So I'm excited to share that, because I've never been in, I've been in Canada, but I've been in Vancouver, but I've never been on the East Coast. So if you feel like you missed one of my retreats, you can come to Poland or you can come to Canada. I don't have the dates yet, but we're working on it. I have a couple of messages. It's okay. Okay, fine. That's great. Yeah, great. Okay, you live in Hanover, Germany right now, right? Okay. Yeah, I want to travel Germany and find out more about it. One of these days when I have time, hopefully I'll do it. My website is zarathustra.tv. If you want to communicate with me, the best way is to write me an email. And my email is info@zarathustra.tv. And our social media pages are Zarathustra 5D. A copy of this broadcast will be for those of you who are joined the Academy, we're going to email you a copy of this broadcast. Simultaneously, this broadcast is recorded on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Thank you for joining me. God bless you. And next Academy, we will have the next Academy next Wednesday. I will be in Los Angeles. So we'll stay connected. Namaste.
Recordings.